What's up guys, back with another video. Gacha Gaming here, welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about a few things that I think are quite important, and that's specifically Jing Liu.
Yeah, boy.
Now obviously for anyone who's obviously been following my account, I feel that I have quite a very well built up main account specifically. For everyone who knows, I have 4 accounts.
What the fuck?
But I'm sort of now kind of steering towards the way of kind of deleting one of the accounts, just for the sake of the fact that half the time it's really hard for me to keep up with all accounts and it's a bit time consuming sometimes. So what I'm going to be doing is just putting away one account specifically, just to kind of sleep on it. It's an American server account on the same email account, but I'll sort of just put it away because at the moment I'm not seeing any like even the characters in that account. The only like specific character I can say that I have really nicely done is probably the Luocha, the Blade, and the Topaz, and that's pretty much it. But if you compare that account to like this account, I think we're pretty much like much better off with this one. So obviously today's video is going to be on Jing Liu. Now for anyone who has obviously been playing the game for majority of when it started, Jing Liu came out probably around like September, October, around that time, and at that point in time she was one of the best DPS characters that came out. Just the fact that her light cone, you know, added a lot of crit damage. So for anyone who's new, I'll just go through very briefly on what she does, and for anyone who's old, I think because you either have the character or you've E6 the character. So for anyone who's new, basically what she is able to play within 3 turns in one turn. She's able to play 3 times within 1 turn. She's able to basically pop she's basically able to pop her skill, and if you have the 2 stacks, I'll put it on the screen. If you have 2 stacks of the skill, she goes into an enhanced state. This enhanced state then gives you another turn to basically play, and then if you have her ultimate, you basically can play her ultimate. You can play her ultimate and then basically go into now her enhanced skill. One of the major things that brings or specifically puts Jing Liu amongst the high-ranking DPS that I think specifically is the fact that she has this mechanic, which I can even show you here, is that when she goes into this enhanced state, for anyone who's new, she's able to basically increase her crit rate to about 50%. 50% is a big number, so meaning you can basically double down on just building her purely with crit damage and as much attack as you can, and then as long as you have about like 24% or 20% crit rate, she will always automatically hit that 70% crit rate mark with an additional crit rate damage, obviously due to either her light cone or whatever buffs you're giving her. So obviously those are generally her traces. Though I've built her up, which I think I'm still kind of working on at the moment. I know a lot of people have said that the quantum set is actually the best set for her because of the whole defense, kind of attacking a character with ignoring defense. But in most cases, I've found this to work for me specifically. I've been able to clear MOC 12 with this build on her specifically. So I think obviously for anyone who's looking at it, as I think mostly if you have a good crit rate, crit damage build, then most of the time that's what you can put on her. So in my case, I think most of my roles revolve around the fact that this crit rate, crit damage specifically the good attack percentage here. I've got crit damage with some crit rate over here, HP. I don't have any other crit damage body, and if I do replace it, then I have to basically, you know, I mean, look at it. Most of my crit damage rolls are so bad. It's especially for this musketeer set. Even, I mean, this is the only one that has even just basically some speed, doesn't have HP, and then obviously Imbibitulune, So right, for my boots, I've not been able, I wanted to give her this. I did want to give her this, but I'm usually running Imbibitulune in most of my teams, so I decided I'll leave this on her and then see whether I can get something better, because as much as this is there, I do want to give her attack boots mostly, because now I have obviously a Sparkle and I have a Bronya, so most of the time it's such, and especially with my Sparkle at 143, Bronya 104, don't judge, it still works for me either way. It works really well for me specifically. Now the only thing I really want to work on with her is I just want to get her attack to about like 3,500, 3,200, and that will work. Now, that's pretty much it in a nutshell for her. She's quite an amazing DPS. I don't think she's fallen off as of yet, to be honest, because she brings a lot of utility and damage in one output, or specifically like 3 outputs if you kind of put her in that situation. So I'll give you a kind of good example of the teams I have put her in. So most of the time I kind of put, so these are my general teams as we speak. My Luocha, Sparkle, Bronya, and Imbibitulune. Most of the time, if Imbibitulune is not needed, I'll usually put, where is that team? I'll usually do it like this instead. So I'll usually put the Jing Liu with the same team. So I'll put Bronya, Sparkle, Jing Liu, and this team hits. It hits. Similar to also this, the Sparkle and Bronya give the DPS character so much crit damage and so much attack. It's unbelievable, especially with the fact that Jing Liu can go about like 3 times. There's a mechanic you can sort of abuse with Bronya, where when you play her skill in ultimate and you're in the point where you have that 3-turn kind of phase where you can go the skill enhanced skill alt, I think that buff that Bronya gives during that point in time still sticks with Jing Liu until the end, which I'll explain later. And then that's pretty much it. This is sort of just like a general team, but my Acheron team is mostly looking like this, to be honest. Right now at the moment, this account is so fully done that half the time I actually don't need to even summon for a character. So at the moment I'm literally just saving, because even MOC I'm literally just left with building up adventuring, and the only thing that I was left with specifically is the fact that I didn't have these materials, so I'm waiting for next week. So one of the major things I wanted to show you now with our baby Jing Liu is we'll kind of go for a damage test so you can actually see what I'm talking about. That's obviously that. So I don't usually know how to give you like good tests, to be honest. Most of the time it's usually the bosses that are better to do. Let's see if I can do the boss. If I can, then I'll show you the reason why I think she's actually really good. So I can still challenge. Yes, I can. Right, so this is just generally, I want you to look at the damage numbers that I will be outputting with Jing Liu, as opposed to, let's say, now my Imbibita Luna, and I'll also give you the stats and see kind of how much damage she deals in one go. So if you look at that, so right now at the moment, obviously we have our Jing Liu. She's at attack 15%, crit rate, crit damage, plus 10%, plus 28%. So basically, this is roughly right now, as a general basis, what she has, 34% to 285. Not much, right? So if I kind of just build up people now, build them up. So she gets 1 stack. We'll do this and then we'll bring her up. So at this point in time, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a general auto, because what I want to do is basically build up my my Bronya to get her ult. That way I'm basically ulting but once. I'm basically ulting with Sparkle, ulting with Bronya, and then ulting with Jing Liu. So I'm just going to do a basic attack for general reference so you can see what I'm talking about. So now we have her ult. That's fine. We'll do this. Almost there, so we'll do this again. So now we have our ult, that's fine. What we're going to do here is just basically make sure that they're well healed. I think that doesn't do anything. We'll do this. Okay, so he heals that. Alright, so I think we're almost there. Right, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do this, just to basically get some debuffs out of the way. Right, so we're going to play, the best way to do this, because usually sometimes speed tuning is one of the best things you can do for the game. So we are going to do, because I want to do it with Bronya. I think the speed part is the problem here. But usually when you're playing, I want to try and see whether I can get all buffs with her. So what I'll do is I'll do this. That's fine. So she's at 24 and 358 worth of crit damage, right? and then we are going to do this. Right, so we're going to alt with Sparkle, right, and then we're going to bring her up. So right before Jing Liu's ult, I want you to see what stats we have. So we have 34 crit rate with 348 worth of crit damage, right? Obviously these are all she has 8 buffs: attack 55%, crit damage 63%, speed 12%, increased damage dealt by 35%, 66%, 48%. Additionally, enhances damage boost effect provided for each stack of Sparkle's talent by 10%, increases crit rate 10% and 28%, and increases finally attack by 15%, right? So I'm going to general, right? Alt. Then she's going to go in her enhanced state, right? Now look at her stats. We have 84% crit rate damage, crit rates with 348. You are basically guaranteed to crit rate with her, 100%. On top of the fact that her light cone increases the wearer's crit damage by 23%. When an ally gets attacked or loses HP, the wearer gains 1 stack of Eclipse, up to a maximum of 3 stacks. Each stack of Eclipse increases damage by 16%. When 3 stacks are reached, additionally enables the attack to ignore 14% of the enemy's defense. This effect will be removed after the wearer uses the attacks, and that's pretty much it. So if we do this now here, we're looking at 230,000. That's heavy, and we still have we're still in her enhanced state. We can just basically bring her up again. She gets another. Look at that, 84%, 450 crit damage. And I think we have the Eclipse. We actually have the Eclipse buff, which is basically going to ignore 14% of the enemy defense. And then obviously she gets her 50% crit rate damage buff when she goes into this enhanced state. So if you look at it this way, it's basically going to look like this. Yeah. So that, I mean, Jing Liu, for any person who's starting, is quite an amazing character. She is busted character, and this is how she looks like in MSC. Let me see if I can actually do like a small quick run as we go into our second phase. Basically I want to show you how easy it is to basically, we had 28 cycles. This is I think MOC, I don't remember, MOC 8 9 over there. So if we go basically buff, and then she has this skill that basically freezes everything around her, and this literally it makes even the game, when she came out, this is one of the best things that the game kind of brought in terms of accessibility, because you could just basically run around and kind of not even defeat bosses, but sort of break all the collectibles and stuff. But I kind of want to show you. Oh, it's run out. Oh god. Okay, so let's start again. Let's start again. I didn't know there's a timer for that. Okay, give me a second. Right, so if you go buff, you go buff, you go buff, you go buff, and that's pretty much it. And you can basically auto a whole MOC just like that. And I'll kind of leave this playing now in the background so you can actually see how easy it is playing with Jing Liu. And that's pretty much it. So as you can see, it's so you can literally just go through one cycle with this team, and if you have or you got Acheron, most of the time creating teams in MOC now is one of the easiest things you can do, basically, because if you have an Acheron team, which is basically the Nihility team, you know, your Pella, your Silver Wolf, especially on the fact that my Acheron is E0 just with her light cone, no Eidolons at all. Most of the time you have such flexibility on the second team if you have at least good DPS, so you can now run a team like now Sparkle, Bronya, Jing Liu and Luocha. In the event that you don't have a Sparkle, even having a Tingyun is one of the best things you can do. You can literally replace her with a Tingyun, and that means half the time you're getting both a damage buff and attack buff from Bronya, and you're getting an energy buff that makes you go into that state faster to Jing Liu. Obviously, due to the fact that they're 5 stars and they just deal way more damage, it's usually more beneficial to have a Sparkle and a Bronya. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think right now, if there's anyone who thinks that getting Jing Liu is maybe not on their go to-do list, Jing Liu is one of the best characters, I can tell you right now. She carried me from when she actually came out in the game to even now specifically. Like, obviously I'm lucky to have someone like Imbibitor Luna obviously on my account, but in all honesty, I think having a Jing Liu on any account compared to Yang Qing, who I don't even have on this account specifically, is always going to be more beneficial. There was discussion, obviously, that Destruction is doing way more than any other single path at the moment, but now where we are in terms of people like Kafka, Black Swan, Acheron, she is still a contender for a lot of damage in the game. But obviously, with that said, I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you so much for the support I'm getting. 2,264 subscribers. I cannot believe that. Then thank you so much for everyone who's tuning in. We officially got monetized a few days ago on the first bit of our YouTube channel, so let's keep growing. I hope you guys obviously love my content, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope to see you all in the next one.